Hi everyone, Radhe Radhe. So this video I got from basically somebody on my Facebook. I am so in love with Facebook. This is amazing. I don't know how many people can actually say that they love Facebook, and I actually love Facebook because it is an immense amount of growth for me. It is an immense amount of. I surround myself. I'm very quick at either unfriending or unfollowing people who I feel like are taking away my energy. And I'm very good at surrounding myself with people who are lifting me up and giving energy. Not lifting me up specifically, they're just making posts, right? But they're so good, these posts. I'm surrounded by such amazing people that every time I open Facebook, I'm uplifted. So I read this article yesterday by somebody, and it's on desire. So I have been reading the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, and I have decided to do chapter 3 and just focus on chapter 3 and become an expert at chapter 3 instead of trying to do everything at one shot. Although I'm doing one verse a day, and that process will continue. But that chapter 3 is all about desire, right? So and this article was on desire, and this article just explained everything in such a beautiful way. It just laid it out, and I was like, okay, this is it. So now I'm going to explain that to you. So let me start with the Bhagavad Gita, what that says, and then I'll expand on it the way this article said. uh so beautiful. Okay, so in Bhagavad Gita chapter 3 verse 36, Arjun asks Krishna, and I'm going to assume that you can look up the details. If you don't know who Arjun and Krishna are, you can look up what the Gita is all about, but you don't have to. I mean, it's just somebody asked somebody. um, why are we impelled to do sinful activities as if by force, even though we're doing it unwillingly? Why? What is it pull that causes us to do these sinful activities, even though we know that it's bad for us? And Krishna responds saying, it is desire. Kama, it is desire. And that desire leads to anger. It is born of the mode of passion. Again, you don't have to understand the details. If you don't understand the details, it's okay, or you can look it up. So it is, all of this is caused by desire, which is born of the mode of passion, which leads to anger, and it is the all devouring, greatly sinful enemy. That's the verse 37. Okay, so now the explanation of why that works and how, and why is desire so bad for us, because we think that desires are great, right? Why is desire so bad for us? Okay, here goes. Desire means, I am saying, a desire for external anything. So this desire could be for anything. It could be for a donut, it could be for a car, it could be for a person, it could be for intimacy, it could be for anything at all. But this desire is like saying, oh, holy thing out there, I need you in order to be happy. If I don't have you, I suffer. I need you to make me happy. Or even if you don't say I suffer if I don't have you, you still say I will be happier if you are with me. Either way, you are placing your happiness at the hands of something external to you, right? So you are not sourcing your happiness from within. You're not sourcing your happiness from either yourself or the universe or God or whatever you believe in. You are sourcing your happiness at this external thing, this external person, this external money, this external food, this external whatever it is. So that is saying my happiness comes from somewhere else, and you're saying, oh, you are so good that you can make me happy. So that's step one. Step two is then you try to achieve that happiness, and many times you will try to achieve that happiness by doing things that are not absolutely perfect, right? If somebody wants to have sex with someone, they will just talk about, they will try to find a way. They'll be like, oh, it's okay, we don't need to become in a committed relationship, and let's just live in the moment, and let's just whatever. And they will try to exploit, subconsciously or consciously, the donut that you want to eat. Your buddhi, your intelligence knows that that donut is bad, but that desire. Okay, so the next question is, where does the desire live? And that's also something that's spoken in the Gita. The desire lives in the senses. So the three places. The senses is the first place that the desire lives. The tongue, the touch, the eyes, the hearing, the smell. The desire lives there. The tongue wants that donut, right? And then the mind is supposed to be controlling the tongue and saying, no, you do not get to have that donut. It's not good for you, because the intelligence is supposed to control the mind. The intelligence leads the mind, supposed to lead the mind. And the intelligence says, no, that's not good for you, don't do it. Or for an addict, that alcohol is not good for you, don't do it, right? But the tongue desperately wants it. And then the mind is just like, okay, the mind is usually supposed to control the senses, but the senses end up controlling the mind. So the example is like the rider of an elephant. The elephant are like the senses, and the rider is like the mind. So when the elephant has like, if the elephant sees bananas somewhere, and if he says, he just decides, I want to have those bananas, then the elephant just decides to go after the bananas. The mind cannot possibly control, the rider cannot possibly control the elephant, because the elephant is way stronger, right? The way to control that elephant is to train it. So the way for our mind, our senses are way stronger than the mind, and usually they just lead us all over the place, right? We don't have any control over that. But the way to control it is to train it slowly but surely, the way an elephant, the rider elephant trains the elephant. So the intellect doesn't work in that situation. You cannot tell the elephant, hey, you should do this, this is good for you. The elephant is not going to listen. The elephant does what it wants to do. The only way to control the elephant is to train it slowly. So the intellect can help us. Yes, the intellect can help control the mind, but you have to start by training those senses. You have to start by training that elephant. And we have to control it. Even to achieve anything in the material world, we have to control the senses. If we want to, I don't know, write a book, or we want to do our job, or we want to whatever, there'll be times where we want to sleep, or there's like, the body is going to say, I want more sleep. But you're telling your body, no, you have to get up. You have to do this thing. You have to go to the job. You have to write this book. So we have to control our senses even to achieve material things. So we have to train it, and the intellect can help. It does help, absolutely. But eventually we have to train the senses. Okay. So the desire lives in the senses, and the desire is the one. So what we're saying is, when we have desires for material things, we're like, oh, you are going to give me happiness, and then we go off and try to achieve it, and many times we will go opposing to our intellect to get it, or our integrity. Worse still, we may go outside our integrity in order to get it, and we'll almost certainly go outside our intellect in order to get it. All of that creates the feeling of non-control in us. Like, it makes us weak. Every time we do that, every single time we do something out of integrity, we become weaker as people. So we feel less. We feel less strong, because we all have a conscience. We know that what is right and what is wrong, and we have a conscience, and even if we're not aware of it, it is affecting us, and it is making us weaker, and we're trusting ourselves less. So that's one aspect of it. The first aspect is we're making our happiness depend on something external. The second is we're doing all kinds of things in order to obtain it, making ourselves weaker, either because we're not listening to our intellect, or we're going out of integrity. The third thing is that if we don't achieve it, then we feel like we're a failure. We feel bad. We feel like we're suffering because we don't have that external thing. So now we have our self-worth also. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, right? If we get it, we feel bad because we've lost our integrity. If we don't get it, even if we don't get it, we might still lose our integrity, because the way we have tried is not in full integrity ways. And it kills our self-worth, because we're like, okay, we did not manage to achieve that thing. I wanted to start my business. I wanted to make this much money, and I didn't manage to make money, or I managed to only make this much, or I didn't manage to make whatever, So that's an external thing again. So we feel bad about that. And then once we achieve it, let's say we do achieve it, then we want to hold on to it. We are attached to it. Like, if it's a person, what if the person leaves? If it's money, what if we lose it? Or what if something happens? Like, we start to get attached to it, and we start to hold on to it. Like, we start to get fear. Like, now we have it and we might lose it. So that's number 4. And then there's so many bad things about desire. And then number 5, I think there's a 5th one. I'm forgetting. Let's see if I can very quickly. Um, yeah, the most important one, actually, the 5th one, is that once we have it, apart from the fear as well, it doesn't give us that happiness. It simply doesn't give us that joy that we thought it would. We want to make whatever millions of dollars, and we make millions of dollars, but we want more. I mean, we're happy in that moment, in one split moment, we're happy. Maybe because of our gratitude exercises or whatever, we learn to be happy about it longer, but it stops satisfying us. It just really stops having that pull. It stops satisfying us. So then what do it's like five things that desire is like, it's hurting us. So what is the solution to it? The solution is to desire our relationship with God and source all of our happiness from within us, instead of an external thing. Whatever we get, we get. We do need enough for our livelihood. Of course, we need food. We're not going to be able to live without food, clothes, shelter. We need that, but there is a limit to that. And if we can get to a place where we get as much as we need. And I know this is going to be very contrary to everything that people are saying, and I'm guessing that people are going to hate what I'm saying, and I apologize if I'm hurting you, but this is what the Gita says, and this is what I truly believe, is that if we get to a place where we have enough to live on, where if we have enough to survive on, we're comfortable, and that's it. Like we don't try to make $1 billion, because $1 billion is not going to make us happy. What is actually going to make us happy is learning how to source that happiness from within, from the self, if you believe, from the higher self, from the universe, from God, from Krishna, whatever you want to believe. If we're sourcing it from within, that is going to give us lasting, eternal happiness. It's not just a momentary happiness that is a diminishing returns, that gives us diminishing returns. It is not a diminishing asset, it's an appreciating asset. So when we learn, how to build that through meditation, through love of God, through bhakti, through devotion, then we are building that inner happiness from within, and we're sourcing it from God, and that is only going to expand. There is a phrase called Anand Ambudhi Vardhanam. Anand means joy, Ambudhi means ocean, Vardhana means expanding. So what we're getting is an ever expanding ocean of bliss. It's not an ocean of bliss. It's not a huge, massive ocean of bliss that we're getting. We're getting an expanding ocean of bliss. That's how beautiful it is. So that's when we start to build our connection with God, then we start to build that ever expanding ocean of bliss. That's where the real joy is. That's where the real so we do desire. We don't kill our desires. We don't say we don't have any more desires. We do definitely desire. It's just that we're desiring our relationship with God. We're desiring to be self-realized. We're desiring to be God-realized, instead of desiring external things that are not going to get us anywhere. And we do that by training the senses. Slowly but surely, we train the senses. No, we are not going to eat this thing. We're never going to eat this. We're never going to eat, or we're not going to eat donuts today, or we're not going to eat donuts this week, or we're not going to eat donuts this year, or we're not going to eat donuts ever. Like whatever level you feel like you're at, but we start by training it. And eventually it just becomes under control. But the path that I follow is bhakti, or devotion to Krishna, but of course whatever works. Okay, that's it for this video. I'm very, very, very excited. I was bursting when I read that article yesterday, and I was bursting when I mean, all this was knowledge that I acquired yesterday, and it was just, I was so bursting, and I'm so glad that I was able to share this with you. I hope this is helpful for you. Wish you a day filled with personal and spiritual growth. Radhe Radhe.